everyone, so before we get started, I have a message for all of you. Falling is an Izuku chapter where there is roughly around 46 chapters if I keep this to the best of my abilities on track. I do also want to say that I will be continuing My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer after Shinobu and Izuku Midoriya is over. Why? I changed my mind, okay? But different audios will be here, scattered about, probably with like no certain genre in general. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Mwah. Today is the day. Today is my first day at UA. I remember that I got in because I was recommended. Being that lucky bastard I am, I knew Katsuki would be pissed that I got over recommendations and he had to take the exam. Could I care? Definitely not. The excitement bubbled in my stomach as I flipped over to my side and tilted the alarm clock to see the time passed and reflected off the sun. 8:45? Okay. 8:45? I've got no time to get ready. All I remembered was trying to accidentally tie on backwards, brushing my teeth to the left side of my mouth and plain piece of bread in the right. Yes. Those stereotypical anime girls who have no time to get ready whatsoever. I know, cliche. Hurt me. Thank goodness Mom wasn't home, otherwise things would have gotten messy. Yinlin, how could you be so irresponsible? You are supposed to be 15 years old. Start acting more your age. The older woman screamed at the younger girl who was curled into a ball on the floor. I'm so sorry, Mom. I was up at 2 a.m. reading fanfiction, so I got no sleep. I wailed back at her. What? Your mother said, suddenly confused. What? You responded by pretending to be equally confused. Watch where you're going. You looked around for the owner of the new voice. It wasn't your mom this time. Stepping you out of reality, you looked up the person who was speaking. Do you have a death wish, kid? Another person yelled as I woke up. My feet had taken me to the train station and almost to school. A crowd of people were not too happy about a student walking into everyone without apologizing. I quickly called out, sorry, and my bad, as I approached the large school. It looked terrifyingly large, yet so majestic. As I entered the grounds, it really made me realize how beautiful the place was. Heroes that we all know and love today walked these grounds as students like ourselves. So nervous about what could come upon the classroom. Oof. Speaking of classroom doors, I had just walked straight into mine. I lay on the floor as the door still rattled with the impact, sighing as I already gave up for the day. I should have just not gotten up, went home and went back to bed right there and then. That was until the door opened. Awkwardly, tilting my eyes up, a boy with indigo hair stood in the doorway. Great. Imagine how he must see me. Here's a rattle from the door. Walks over and sees a girl on the floor with a red freaking forehead with a smashing indent in it. I wasn't going to ruin my reputation yet. So I quickly stood up and smiled. Hi there, I'm Yinlin. I held up my hand and he took it surprisingly by maturity. Tenya Ida, nice to meet you. It seems that we are going to be classmates from what I'm guessing. I shook my head. Great. I'm running to the door, making him assume I'm in this class. I quickly read the door and sigh in relief. Yep, this is my class. The two of us entered the room and I looked around at the desks of people, unsure where to sit. I just continued casually talking to Ida like we had been friends forever. Wow. Anyways, Izuku's POV. It hadn't even been a minute and I see Lynn already making friends. I can see confidence shining through the way she looks at people. How she speaks, how she acts, sometimes. I wonder how she does. What's her drive? I've never actually talked to her before. I only watched her throughout the years. Deciding to focus on my attention back on my notebook, I feel a tap on my shoulder. Hey, Taku. The voice calls out cheerfully and openly. I turned to see Uraraka, the first, technically real friend I've made here. This place is super cool, right? She asked, jumping up and down in excitement. I didn't look her in the eyes, but instead at my twiddling thumbs beneath the table. It really is, I guess. It's way cooler than what they say. A small smile grew on my face as I spoke the truth. It really is amazing. Beyond! Someone called from across the room, stealing my attention away from my thoughts. It was Lynn. In front of the open... Oh my god. In front of the open window with more students watching. As I show you how to fly, she finished, and Kachan rolled his eyes at her as I sat in horror. Lynn always did this in middle school, and most of the time, failed, sadly. Yin Lin was trying to fly. Kachan mimicking my thoughts and speech, but harder. Idiot, you can't fly. You just fall and hurt yourself. One moment I saw her sticking her nose up at Kachan, then the next I saw her running to the back of the room, clearing dust out of the way to make a runway. She stood against the back wall of the classroom before letting two huge gusts of wind escape her palms against the wall, shooting her across the room and out the window. Everyone got wind lashed before running up to the window to see if she was okay. When I was little, I always thought her and Kachan were so cool, so I went back to my old ways, running up to the window to watch. As she flipped her body around in the air to face us, she laughed. I told you I could do it, Katsuki. My jaw dropped. Did Yin actually just fly? Did it take her 2 years to finally work it out? Every time she got knocked down or failed, she always would get up and try again. Her fearless smile irradiated confidence, and her eyes showed pure joy and astonishment. She always stands tall and proud, ready to face anything. That's why people admire her. That's why people like me admire her. I was cut from my thoughts as I heard a loud thud and everyone giving a oh no look. Refocusing on the world, I realized that Ian was lying on her back, flat against a tall tree. She must have hit it and went dizzy and began falling. This caused her to scream on her way down, and I watched in even more horror as she went into a pin drop position, shooting herself straight back down. I'm not done yet. The problem was, she didn't stop going up. She zipped around for a moment before she went up and out of sight. We leaned our heads out the window to try and spot the poor girl, but saw nothing. That was until I heard a loud, "Look out!" I looked back in front of me to see Yin coming right at me. I had no time to move before she knocked right into me, screaming, sending us both tumbling back to the classroom floor. I shook my head and opened my eyes as I felt a small weight on my chest. Lynn had fallen right onto me. My face just went a deep red as I began to flutter one eye open. She looked right at me, and we couldn't help but hold eye contact for what just felt like before she quickly got up and her face matched mine. I was embarrassed because I was just knocked over by probably one of, I don't know what to call it, of Class 1A. She was most likely embarrassed by falling in front of the whole class without even knowing them for 10 minutes. I blinked before realizing that she had gotten up and was holding her hand out. Sorry about that. She rubbed the back of her neck with her free hand. At least your collision was my fault, though. So I'm in a way. Sorry. Her awkward smile acted like nothing happened, but also did it. I gladly took her hand and sent an electrifying feeling through my body. No, not literally, but it was like a new feeling that I had never felt before. It was the confidence that Lynn radiated. Or was it that I've never really touched a girl before and a girl had never touched me? Whatever it was. She turned to the class and said, "See, I told you I could do it. I didn't say I could control it, but I sure can do." Everyone nodded in agreement, with some confusement and others astonished. I just continued to stand beside her, as we looked like a pair of cherries, embarrassed for a whole different reason.